Alele Wodi. Which shop baby the mommy na Skype yo. Type Nation. You know for talk for you right? We gains. No respect for the youth. We gains. We don't see all kinds suffer. Man they die proper, no coffer. All man gains. You know youth, we gains. The country na scam. We been think say you go better where you can, but we don't tire with this scammer. We gains. When you talk for you right, then joke by you talk. Who's them beggars it's on Babin shop? This new direction try to lead us in the wrong way. So hard time, so I guess we for stop. Yeah, let's come to reality. Man, they're not back safe, no security. We need for stop now police brutality. For make we see the lights, we get for stand for we rights. Or else we go suffer till insanity. When the mommy talk this, man then gon' cock this. Now so you go left up like we got king. Up justice, no respect for the style. I of scope chasing bad. Separation and me country na anthem. Yo, Fritz on dark past graveyard, Elsa, Guma Valley Court 5, up Kissy Brook with a vet. Seal now na two, but them bike man know they play. Make Salon better, we really need for call God. Where we talk for we write, the one canvas. We well, if na shit with a speech, the shit getting gassy, call say with a panaste, with the board and can't pass we. Yeah. If Boku ya na tsken na bab shenge lima. So like that why they can't pass Nima. The country no ba safe with the sleep we are open wait see apple with the afraid. God day dreamer. As we talk for we write and begin shoes like a auntie. Makeni and Sombobo na victim. For the killing alone sack but them bago don't show na big screen. I saw it on history like say not to be big thing. Now the country discard not to so this mistake. Well now Adebayo and Mikos just a stop with chat. We need freedom and peace. Justice at least. So nasty talent from justice and peace. No more job for the youth, no food for the poor. The witch gun and state house we lost is the law. Politics over everything, nothing no they grow. Green industry, fin no level, let's me no go blow. Killing humanity, education, health, no facilities. That press release we on cool pull, no clarity. They take we like comedian and cuts for we economy. These are the facts, if you want to be a friend of me. How you go feel for skitty comping kind? Stab your brother, now in bag, but this is past fucking pine. So we dey beg for freedom, justice for Kimbo, Sabra need for go and the rest of mankind. Too much drama na me country make the youth and scammer. Una make the country for who tire with Moku grammar. No for talk for you guys, we gains. No Alele Wodi. Which shop baby the mommy na Skype yo. Type Nation. You know for talk for you guys, we gains. No respect for the youth, we gains. We don't see all kinds suffer. Man they die proper, no coffer. All man gains. You know for talk for you right, we gains. No respect for the youth, we gains. The country na scam, we been think say you go better where you can, but we don't tire with this scammer, we gains. When you talk for you right, then joke by you talk. Who's them beggars it's on Babin shop? This new direction try to lead us in the wrong way. So hard time, so I guess we for stop. Yeah, let's come to reality. Man, they're not back safe, no security. We need for stop now police brutality. For make we see the lights, we get for stand for we rights. Or else we go suffer till insanity. When the mommy talk this, man then gon' cock this. Now so you go left up like we got king. Up justice, no respect for the style. I of scope chasing bad. Separation and me country na anthem. Yo, Fritz on dark past graveyard, Elsa, Guma Valley Court 5, up Kissy Brook with a vet. Seal now na two, but them bike man know they play. Make Salon better, we really need for call God. Where we talk for we write, the one canvas. We well, if na shit with a speech, the shit getting gassy, call say with a panaste, with the board and can't pass we. Yeah. If Boku ya na tsken na bab shenge lima. So like that why they can't pass Nima. The country no ba safe with the sleep we are open wait see apple with the afraid. God day dreamer. As we talk for we write and begin shoes like a auntie. Makeni and
I just wanna drink and party all day.
This December, all routes lead to Freetown for the first ever Afro-Caribbean Festival. On the 28th of December, our international guests will arrive at Lunga International Airport. Please look for the bright colored line. On December 29, we will take you on a tour around the city to touristic sites. Later, from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m., join us in our Ankara pool parties. On the 30th of December, from 12 p.m. till 5 p.m. Get that sparkling ocean clean white for our beach all-white party at Decode Bar. Join us in our pajama jam starting at 7 p.m. till midnight. 31st of December will be time for some sand and sunbathing in our Juve on the beach at Kalon Kapak from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. Experience New Year's Eve in Freetown like never before in our New Year's Eve concert at Radisson Blu Blue from 10 p.m. till dawn. On New Year's Day, Carnival will meet Lantern Parade from Radisson Blue all the way to Freetown Golf Club and back to Radisson Blue with a portrait of the legendary musician Ebenezer Kalenda, and that's from 12 p.m. till 6 p.m. because at 7 p.m. on New Year's Day, all roads will lead to Radisson Blue for the Africa Ball, for mixing the Sierra Leone culture with Caribbean culture to get a powerful cocktail of all-night entertainment. January 2nd, 2023 will be time for our guests to leave. So, grab your tickets now for the Afro-Caribbean Festival in Freetown from Eminence Africa Office 114 Pademba Road, Freetown, or call customer care on 030-200-555.
I turn up the fed till it's an over.
Huh? Alele Wodi! Wish your baby the mommy na Skype yo. Type Nation. You know for talk for you right? We gains. No respect for the youth. We gains. We don't see all kinds suffer. Man they die copper, no coffer. All man gains. You know for talk for you right? We gains. No respect for the youth. We gains. The country na scam. We been think say you go better where you can, but we don't tire with this gamma. We gains. When you talk for you right, then joke by you talk. Who's them beggars it's on Babin shop? This new direction try to lead us in the wrong way. So hard time, so I guess we for stop. Yeah, let's come to reality. Man, they're not back safe, no security. We need for stop now police brutality. For make we see the lights, we get for stand for we rights. Or else we go suffer till insanity. Where the mommy talk this, man, then gon' cock this. Now so we go left off like we got kill. Mob justice, no respect for the style.
Yes, mob justice inside we country. Fambol lemona kushe no adu. We are done come back today for come talk about things where they happen. Now we on sweet yard, San Lone. Now we on. Whoa. We left for do them bad things then. We they feel a more San Lone. Now we on. Whoa. We are. Well, family, Kushel, this not just short camera cam. I don't lost pound and assault, not two, yes. We are. It don't say where we know the camera net. Well, not all because we know one for camo until you know some thing that we can knock you down. Now money they can let you free, but even time they can grip you back. Well, today I say whatever the case, I go fit them and I make sure say I come here and talk to you. Well, today something happened when that purposely make a cam so that we can talk. Then we get we honest opinion into this particular thing. We get this program where we do where we call Cores. Long, it don't tell what they count people, but the one today this morning, it been just gets this kind of attention from people. Everybody gets the ways and means how they put them. All man gets how it don't classify that particular person and the way how it analyze the issue. So now I know say most of you missed that particular edition of Cores. But if you miss them, no worry. We can analyze them, and after which I will ask you for call, and then we talk about the issues them one by one inside the program. Yeah. So I will play the program. We will listen them. I will go on top and small, and after which I will ask Kuna for come inside. Let we all come sit down and talk about this particular thing. Well, like I say, so this now one of the reasons we make we know the camera. As you can hear now, the voice, you ain't sabi CMP, you know now say this not to the voice, but still, we will still continue and go small. So we can go now and listen keenly to the issues them and take note of them because some sensitive issues then they. And in my opinion, as a journalist within the practice, you know, this particular journalist wake up this morning, you know, like the other one them, he really gets critical views about things that will happen. Well, some people say, no, this one is too strict on the government. This one say, no, you be need for mix out with somebody else. This one say, no, and sometimes they try for seek attention, that I make it talk this kind of way, this one. But me, when they don't do this kind of thing, I know say, this person, they talk from my heart. And in order they try for seek for any attention. But, I'm not sure, say, my opinion counts for you in this particular case because for me I would say interestingly I be don't they watch na television where you don't bring analysis them on this particular issue. Well, on different issues that we get from the parliament. Sorry about that. On different issues that we get for do with parliamentary activities, you know. But now only today I can know say this person back been done the form of me those days na 98.1. So He sabi me, I sabi am, but we not ever meet one-to-one past today. In fact, today is not to one-to-one. Past today, we sit on a program one-on-one and talk from the heart. You know, like I can tell you sometimes the way I want to talk, I talk from my heart, and I know they watch who that, or what you care about, or what you not care about. So I think say in the case of this, but I think say most of the family members they can get critical views about different issues them where we get. So I want to know what do you think about that one day. So one more time, I'm very sorry for the voice. Sorry I get for the giving us some one bullet. Yeah, sorry I get for the road knows for one time, but sorry about that, okay? I'll prompt to now in advance. So let me go and begin for watch this school rest program this morning, and let me see what exactly we will get out of this particular program from we all. Start with the one last week where na the Calabash newspaper, and I will just today I will look basically the things them way you actually done the report on better one na parliament. But now look at this President Bio and ECSL boss to explain to Supreme Court use of PR system. You know they follow this particular thing. Serious one at the House of Parliament. So tell me about this PR system. Who said you are there with regards to this PR system? Because it is being they set the parliament for go lay the instruments. Tell me about them things, and you get wealth of experience. I think we will explain you better.
Yes, and for all of you able to understand, say this wahala dey. Fambul for go read the Constitution of Sierra Leone, when 1991 Constitution, and one by the provision the way it gets after they be amended in 2001. Now the provision we say, usai the available data for population they not available for any constituency. Then the president, after I don't engage with NEC, then go declare or apply what they call proportional or district block electoral system. And according to the main opposition APC, they say this argument not all water. And why make them say so? They say because we get existing boundaries and constituencies and members of parliament the way they represent them, and already the census data still not expire 8. There is no need for can declare a district block system where there is an existing data. But on the other side, the government bench and government officials like NEC, they already say, as it stands so right now in Salon, the constituency that will be in the 2018, then population don't increase in their estimation. And then free say, if they use that data way, then they use 2018, they might left some of the voters or potential voters them out. So that will be the bedrock of the argument. APC and opposition, they say 38A not applicable because there are existing boundaries and constituencies, while the government and NEC they say it cannot be equitable to the of the population as per section 38.
So they basically talk now say they don't want for less people them out. I mean now that make them they do a voter registration for know how much people them actually they in that particular constituency.
Exactly, that's not the other argument that the voter registration for inform the data way NEC for use. But NEC then they argue otherwise that in that case they for do boundaries delimitation, and in the other hand they not get enough time. But could people and only criticize them, and I think it's a justifiable criticism because from 2018 to now, for make NEC can talk say enough time not go do for do boundaries delimitation. That in itself, it gets a lot of chamot, particularly so when NEC be not spend couple for do this process and exercise, we be not go on, but now they don't abort and say that they use the district block system. Now it's before the courts, and it left to the courts. First, we'll go interpret whether it's applicable in this case. 2, whether local councils then captured in the district block system, and some of the other prayer then will be whether independent members are going to be allowed under the proportional representation system. All of these are legal arguments, and we wait for see whether the Supreme Court will assign the case and how speedily they will sit up on the case and waiting will be the outcome of the case. But in all of this, before I wrap up, the outcome will be very consequential. Assuming that the president was right or is right, then it means that the opposition is left with no option either for pull out or for follow suit. And if the Supreme Court come with a ruling that the president and ECSL they're wrong, it means the election where dates don't come up for next year, it not go hold. Because the referee means say NEC therefore go back to parliament with new instruments and regulations on a new date for election. So the Supreme Court ruling will be very consequential either or as to how the person sit on and the political divide.
So according to NEC, they say they don't want for left anybody out. But we see the registration where they do. A lot of people, they cry, say they left them out. Even this exhibition where they do, a lot of people them say they not get the information they write. But when they complain to ECSL, they say they not get provision for correct names and other things. Then. So, waiting, who side now then see them with regards left somebody out, not left somebody out. Because waiting them, they say they no one for do for left people them out. Now that people and they cry say now then they left them out.
And that's not the double standard where we don't see the come out from neck, where they make some of we don't they ask, who don't have the one them where they scrutinize neck, who don't have the technocrats and experts them, that the legal department and other department then a neck, where they go advise the president, and based on waiting then they advise the president, and waiting the president they listen how much convinced he be, because neck in itself cannot be without scrutiny now. Looking at some of the actions and the decisions, and the worrying again at that, and get serious consequences on the upcoming election. So NEC needs some kind of gatekeeping, and thankfully the opposition this time not to blah blah blah, no more than the blah blah blah, but they are going to the courts, and we wait to see how judicial will the judiciary be with this matter.
All right, so this now one step. You know, you hear one very critical thing where it's not easy make you hear they come out of a journalist. The double standard of NEC, ECSL, how then they play double role in all of this thing, you know, and in your opinion, we feel say the ECSL supposed to stay middle in everything and make sure say they come out clean in everything where they do. But in the case of this one, they find out say ECSL they play double standard, double role, you know, in terms of, you know, one for stay neutral, but at the same time, one for take side in all of these. One for do the right thing, but at the same time, one for fraud the system again in another area. So even the system where they try for say, they're no one for left nobody out at the end of the day. We see say ECSL don't left plenty people out of the system. You know, we see they don't disenfranchise. They don't tap plenty people. They don't stop plenty people. We not forget the chance for vote inside the election. Because number one, they say they not get NIM. Where they send them go for NIM. From where they go for NIM, till now they not get NIM. Secondly, they say some of them are underage. Where before say some of them they face them, even don't pass cutting 3. But still, they say they not reach 18 years age. So all of these things, you find out say, you know. This thing they try for show we say, we entire system like a collapse system. Because if we not able to get proper birth certificate, when we prove say this particular person is authentic something he get, then a slap na the government in face at the same time. Because if the birth and death department go issue birth certificate to somebody, then it go present them to you. Then we still say this BNTM, the government don't commission some justice of the peace. Then people here go to the justice of the peace. They go swear affidavit. They carry them. They still say no. Then you show say the people that where you put with the justice of the peace, they don't get credibility. The birth and death department not get credibility, because if you read out your own documents as a government, then a very big concern for the one whole country, not only for the election or for the registration, but it will get for tell on we in the future, especially for some people we get for the need them document other side them for do other documentations them. It really get for the tell on them, because the system just the proof itself say is not credible. Now we continue. All right, so I think we're happy with that, but now people like we talk about double standard. And now people they say the confidence we can get in NEC, they know they see how best that will get for being in place for the 2023 election. You think that this kind of fairness where people get now, nothing that the way NEC for bill and people them?
Of course, and this not only the opposition, they say so. If you look at previous reports from the European Union Observer Mission from that 2018, then follow-up reports, then they talk about draining public trust in certain institutions, and NEC was one of these institutions, although they come out for defend themselves. So the bottom line remains, yes, NEC always will be a subject of political scrutiny, because nobody now lost election, and the politician then always go out for use NEC as a pawn, but NEC themselves need to do their homework well for make sure that people are not get no mistrust, because as it stands, the opposition wants sympathy, the government wants sympathy, and in the process of sympathy seeking, they are creating apathy for the institution, for political parties, and we're not in the interest of democracy at all.
Now you be dey talk about this issue of, who that for check neck, who that for actually scrutinize neck. When we see say the parliament wey actually for scrutinize neck because of the political divide, they're not able for put certain things in place. What does this mean for democracy?
It means that theory of separation of power is just in theory, but practically in a country like Salone, where we get hung parliament, we get a hybrid system of presidential and parliamentary. We say the president and member of parliament. We say you get laws that will stop members of parliament not for support themselves under 77(1)(k). All of those things. It shows that we need for review some of the laws in context with the time in Salone, because some of them, should the president be a member of parliament ceremonially or otherwise? Other advanced countries is not happening. If you go to South Africa, the president is called for a question time. But here in Sierra Leone, it's almost impossible. But on the other hand, the president can summon the parliament at any time. And at that moment, we see the second phase over the same census instrument. So moving forward, there are several undercutting factors to the democracy. One got to do with the law, two, the application of the law, three, bad political actors, and now we are seeing a new trend undermining the independence of state institutions. It's quite worrisome, and I think everybody needs to engage as to what kind of country and governance, particularly electoral system, we want for see amidst all of this.
All right. So this next paper, when a Salone Times get all thing about your own office again, where now the same parliament where they talk about the ECSL actually get lots of problem them where they actually need for put in place before ever we go into the election. Some thinking day, when you get somebody where they look from a genuine point of view, where they try to avoid political lens and just give you that kind of analysis like what we can do now, for tell you about the election, for tell you about the possibility of certain issues, certain things then, because you feel say, no, enough for be like that, you know the see at all, you know the see that area there. And instead, what you could do, you could decide for say, no, this person here, they don't pay them, or this person here, so it look for attention, or other things then. But look at this thing. The truth now, neck really not look serious in all of this thing. It's like the other case we don't come up, get for be very, very serious now for even we, the people of we are, if we not take them. All the ala we the ala so right now, if we not take them, it get for cost we a lot to get for cost we. But I'm not reaching to that date. Let me continue for listening to Melvin as he still they analyze the different issues. Them. Let's take the next issue. So I think we don't make mistake at all. It's only the paper they work with we for able to put all USA you get speciality for when we talk about so not to mistake this at all. This one say over 5.4 billion Dubai jolly trip. Sports Minister, NSA Director, SLFA, Prexy face parliamentary probe today. That means the Leon Star will be going now in Dubai for go play. Then they appear in the parliament today. What do you don't get so far? How if you say this thing now another white elephant thing, another waste of energy, or it will actually come with dividend for the people of the country because everybody vexed about this particular trip. You see, this particular issue where the journalists they can touch on so, not just the real face of parliament in the country. And interestingly, in a resident parliamentary reporter, in other words, a based in parliament, you know the in and out of parliament. You know when waiting this committee they do, waiting this committee not they do. You know waiting this kind of people capable of doing, you know waiting this not capable of doing. You know waiting the speaker can do, you know waiting the speaker not can do. Because it don't watch them every step where they take and every move where they make. In just the try for see waiting they happen. Listen to this SLFA, that Leon Star trip na Dubai. This one, that thing where they get very, very big attention from me and you. Yeah? Because even the Leon Star, when they go Nations Cup, 10 out the name for account for that money they eat. But not listen what they say. As parliament we call them today, I go get for do follow up for see how they pass the parliament today.
I think sincerely and unfortunately, it's just a what I would call a window dressing or whitewashing. There will not be any. It means even if the committee can sit down for drama no more and show for attract public attention, but at the end of the day, the bottom line will remain. We've seen a sports ministry where this same sports oversight committee done the summon, and some of the people that the summon not appear. We see a sports oversight committee where they do several probes on discipline them, with some of their reports then we know when they see. So in all of that, let's assume that they do all their work and do due diligence. Their recommendation is limited because it's left with the executive to execute or not. So Parliament in its oversight functions, particularly though I would say it not be too robust, weak somehow, but the political willingness in applying whatever comes from Parliament is not there. Will you expect parliamentary committee to recommend that, let's say, the Minister of Sports, whatever the findings come out, say, not follow procedure, so if we return the money back? Parliament can only put it into paper, but if the executive, the president, the Ministry of Finance and other actors, and at some point, if the courts not coming for gear force, it is just a waste of effort. So for me, I think it's just going to be a show for we, the media and the public, for getting more information, but nothing, I'll report, nothing substantial will come out of it. For more so the reason that Parliament is almost overwhelmed. There is already a budget debate going on, we already take their attention. There is already the bad blood with regards to the feds. Some man they in hiding now, some lawmakers they in hiding, one day in detention. So the climate alone in itself is not congenial for anything substantial come out of whatever probe they will be doing this morning. Like I said, it's another avenue for let we get news, for let family know waiting and waiting go wrong. But outside of that, it's only be good for the shelves and for precedent and record for tomorrow and by.
This is not the exact way our parliament can do. Politicians generally can always try for, people they don't allow, oh yeah, they don't allow, wait till for do now, don't just fake them as if we do something. Call them, can't allow for them, okay, you know, for do this, not for do that, nothing they come up behind. Now, this did not come up from we, it come up from a journalist, a resident journalist, resident reporter inside parliament. We exactly, they tell me exactly, waiting they happen, you know, with regards how the parliament can fake with some issues then. When they must say, nothing this way we get interest span, nothing this way one for your e-board. You go here, one grab, hey, look here, I'm going to parliament. Nothing they come up here again. Not just for lady and say, oh, we don't do a more. After that, the result, nothing on it again. Listen the other part. We see this minister as a way, every side Leon start they go available there. And all they sit down for actually see what thing they happen inside, how for coordinate other things then. But they just concerned about flying. Any side, Alexef now. Bayan, Leon start go as long as money they ready for go. You know, but again, in my own opinion, in my own estimation, the one that will raise this alarm, the sports journalists, them plant carry and go in any side way that they go. So in my opinion, I feel say because they're not carry and go, now make them blow alarm. Number two, even the committee on sports, then can carry and go in at some point. And I feel say again, because in their opinion, Leon start sneak. They not care them go. Now that make all of them they raise alarm because them bland be part of the jolly trip them where Leon start they go and nobody not can raise alarm on that day. As we go Nations Cup, 10 now they know able for account proper one about the money where they go spend. But this same sports committee no raise alarm. The sports journalists no raise alarm. Why not this? Is it because Leon start sneak? They not care them go and make them get concerned?
I think this is my opinion and I think that you express so, you know. This is our great philosophy. I see a lot of them around this whole idea. Like you said, if we don't carry them, people will and go. For be this, is it done in the interest of good faith? So it questions the sincerity of the call itself. And where the sincerity of the call is questionable, the impartiality, neutrality, and independence of whatever probe that will be coming up is going to be arguable. So yes, that's our great notion would be around it. But again, that's what should be the role of the media. Whether they are playing it at the right time or for the right reason or not, they can still have a grounds that, we are holding the powerful into account as provided for in Section 11 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone.
All right, so let me look at the same paper again. Another issue we get for do with the parliament. It's a no debate for the audit report in 4 years. This one, I think, where a lot of people and this government promise for look into the audit report, you know, for see how best they can able for put things them in place. Audit reports, I think again this week gets a lot of interest. You know, audit report, the Auditor General, and all of them things there. But we see say after where this government be promised, and then we not see anything. The parliament, the audit reports, sit down at parliament. All of the audit reports where they come out, sit down at parliament. But none of them, not ever, find their way inside the well for let them debate them. So the question is why?
These are the worst mistake or the worst imperfection where this parliament we always remember them for the life they done by April. If say April, this parliament not look into the audit reports or the reports on the audit reports, then they will be remembered as this is one of the greatest blights to public accountability and transparency. But let's understand the context of the disagreement. There is a huge disagreement between APC and SAPC, SLPP and SLPP as to how should this Auditor General's report be handled. Constitutionally, Section 119 says there should be an Auditor General, and that Auditor General should table his or her report. And we know say that report of the Auditor General always don't be a political tool based on whether the opposition or government. Where SLPP be the opposition use. Where the non-can government and say this Auditor General's report is too adverse, and there is this suspicion the Auditor General and the deputy were removed. But what is the disagreement in Parliament? The disagreement is whether now the Auditor General's reports for be debated or the report of the Public Accounts Committee. There is a procedural and legal ambiguity there. As per the Constitution, it says Parliament for debates the Auditor General reports, full stop. But as per the standing order, the current Deputy Speaker, when the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, they argue that for the fact that the standing order creates committees of Parliament, where the Constitution also endorses, then that committee, when the Public Accounts Committee, for first investigates and reports to Parliament, where Parliament now can debate your reports. So whose reports for debate? I know we not see a debate today on Auditor General's reports, whether the raw reports or whether within some people that fear say the watered down reports for be debated.
Okay, let's look at something where maybe not can get sense, but as somebody where they are now will get a speciality, you can put sense into that one day. It's like the question will be asked for NEC, order for scrutinize NEC. So we go back to Parliament, even Parliament inside the audit report get a lot of things them they where themselves flout the issue of how you call this thing, the issue of accountability, the issue of transparency, the issue of how they can able for use money and liquidate. Like for example, they give Parliament money for go as constituency fund. They not come back and report how much or how they use them. Then they go oversight. Then they give them money. They know they come back and liquidate. Saying that this person go now this signature. All of them things they are. So when a bad part of the Parliament, they inside the report here. How Parliament for exposing itself again? Because we get billions of news where they inside the audit report. When a Parliament they waste them.
Ali, it's ever get critical interview like you, but this is a question we myself been ask the Speaker of Parliament inside one of the rare press conference as to who are the police parliament. Well, generally, as per the social contract, now me and you when I registered the electorate in a salon, now we the police parliament. How? MP office not deliver, we not for voter out. And I make na salon, we get the problem of attrition. We are in political parties, most of the MP then the symbol. And some of them, when they get symbol under Yuki way, they can vote against them. As we see in the case of constituency 1E2, Honorable Tawa in election to Parliament. So one, we the electorate for no so get power for police Parliament. But also Parliament itself, with the Constitution, get the rights and power for police themselves. How? Parliament supposed to get a committee of privileges. Wherein if Parliament not do it correct or a member of Parliament not do it correct, that committee for investigate and report to the leadership and the Speaker for take decisions them against a member of Parliament and whosoever involved. And again, you get state accountability institutions like the Anti-Corruption Commission and the Audit Service Sierra Leone. They report them back now a policing tool for police Parliament. But to generally who are the police Parliament with regards to all of those issues, I think say now we need 10 we don't left. All their avenues and they almost don't let for explore other than let's wait and go to the
look at this thing where it happen again. Look at this thing. We get for do it with money. And then get waiting and call and go and come. Yeah. I forgive you, you forgive me. For example, the audit report. Yeah, first of all, come and talk to the office of the First Lady. Get a lot of money where they're not even able to present, cash book for show how they spend them. The same thing goes to Parliament. But waiting anti-corruption end up for do because if Parliament for the own the office of the First Lady, then anti-corruption for the whole Parliament. So now they say, okay, nobody know all in company. We know the old First Lady, we not back not all we. Then we still say ACC come and say, okay, Parliament they waste this, they use this kind of money where they're not able to account for, but they don't understand. Yeah, so we send them go now the prevention committee or so for let them able for see how they can prevent that enough for happen again. But the question we left in mind now, how parliament will make this law not go understand say any money where they use, therefore able for account for them. Why anti-corruption do the kind of things they have so with regards this particular issue in the last, not to the last, the second to last audit report.
I go tell you the case of the first lady. It's quite complex and it deeper than meeting we might done the anticipate or done the analyze. For the fact that one, the question, the fundamental question, is the office of the first lady a constitutional office? If we can adequately answer that question, then we move to the next part of the
well, maybe
creation.
if I can go into that, they according to waiting some of the member of parliament and they say no. And not supposed for even take money. We mean say ACC for even ask audit report not for be even audit them for be even ask them for give back the money.
I beg for the first enough for take money. Now somebody get money. Now the Ministry of Finance get money. And when Ministry of Finance they give money, there are specific ministries, departments, or public enterprises where they get an itinerary for give money. So we ask ourselves, how comes the office of the first lady able to get budgets from the Ministry of Finance? That is tied to the Constitution. Constitutionally, it's the right of the president for create offices. All right. So we ask ourselves, this institution of the office of the first lady, we don't accept her now that a traditional office or a constitutional office, but what's the legitimate framework? Ministry of Finance always argue say the president get right for create offices, and the office of the first lady falls within some of those powers.
And then get 1% where they can give to anybody where they want to give.
Of course, and guess what? I think that this argument will turn to the Ministry of Finance. We Parliament don't discover say waiting and approve as budget, then can spend beyond for their own ministry operations, which is also a subject for probity.
So this same we can see, for example, that they ask for additional money, for let them add to the budget already, where they don't already approve for them. But we can even see, say, this same ministry where they can don't approve budget for, some of the ministries, then departments and agencies, them, we see they don't get first quarter, say the year done, they know they get. So the question is, who side this money they go? And how comes where they not even give the money where they not approve to the different MDs then, but then they come back in the parliament for can ask for money?
Well, that's not the question where I'm sure the Auditor General's reports over the years don't the answer as to whose side their money are they go. In summary, most of them money are they going to people in private purse and pockets and bank accounts inside salon and outside of Sierra Leone. So anytime you get a budget hearing, somebody is going to get rich in a salon, unfortunately. And there are no stringent mechanisms for some of them money than they for going at the right source. And even when they're not going at the right source, who takes responsibility for that? So for me, Ministry of Finance, now one of the most interesting ministry. Then they delay other ministries their allocation, but then they overspend. Then they spend past waiting the parliament they approve for them. So who side the extra money come out? Now one. Who side the other money that we're not come out to the other public enterprises then they go. Of course, that can be a subject for investigation by some technical and professional experts in the financial sector. But yes, there is a huge problem in that Ministry of Finance where we could see fiscal discipline, also we fail an MCC. We make bread and butter, people are still, we are one of the most hungry or hungriest nations. We are still among the poorest nations. All of these are the issues because money meant for service deliveries are diverted into other purposes. And unfortunately, state institutions that we can do due diligence, it's either they remove them, boss them, or they find way for undermine public confidence and trust in them.
Now, we're still inside this particular parliament issue. Like I say, the paper they all get for do with parliament. Independent observers say 2023 budget is a painted document. This then they quote Honorable Sir Charles. Waiting a deliberate more on this one. Or why you call them painted documents?
He call them painted documents because quoting him, he say not reflect the realities on the ground. And according to he say it's fake and things like that. But let's understand the context, how this captured by the media. We are seeing a debate for the first time unprecedentedly, where in the main opposition not only participate, and the few of the other oppositions, they have been all praise singing. This is the first on record for this 2023 budget debate that is being critical. So the media, I think we will commend the journalists, we write that story, the other media, they will capture that aspect there. Because among the list of close to 5 or 6 MPs we debate yesterday, except Honorable Charles, every one of them were praise singing, and few others will make recommendations to problems of, well, certain ministries, for example, Ministry of Development, not get enough budget and should be given more budget. But I think, based on best practice, the debate on the budget should be about justification. Does the Ministry of Finance, for example, need more money or less money? That's what I know for places like Commons, those places like Senate and Congress. That's how they debate on the budget. Is it physical? Is it feasible? The question also can come, who said the money they come out for finance the budget? But here in Sierra Leone, it's about most of the lawmakers taking a partisan.
Okay, sorry about that. Notice say my voice not going to go out. Okay, so basically, what I'm going to try for say, the parliament, they approve money for the Ministry of Finance. This Ministry of Finance, first of all, they get people them, whether they employ, whether they pay, you cannot sort of employ. They not get appointments letter, but they pay them. Big time money. They not pass through the Civil Servants Commission, but then they name them at the Ministry of Finance. So this is not the situation. Then we find out, say, Parliament they approve money for the Ministry of Finance, where they for use for the 1 whole year for all of the MDs them, ministry, departments, and agencies them, where they under the government. But we see say, and then money they now for first, second, third, and fourth quarter, January, February, March, 1 quarter, March, April, May, June, second quarter, take good on. We find out say the MDs them not even get 1 quarter of the money. Then, for example, they could just go January, February, March, April, May, June. Then they won't come back June, July, August, September. They say, hey, the money won't be get, won't be approved. Not do. They say we can for what they call supplementary budget, more money. But that money, when they be approved for them, so like all the other MDs they get, they not get them. You go hear MDs then they say, hey, boy, this year they approve money for we never forget we own quota. We not get we own quota. When our first quarter no more get. And interestingly, what the Ministry of Finance they do, it is only budget. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Then they give them 1 quarter. That September right now. Then they use September, October, November, December. Then go to the next year. So the question where this man be the try for analyze now, who side this money they go? Where they not even give the MDs them, but they come back say supplementary. The money we will get in order to want more. Who side? Now basically the try for analyze.
Lens on the document, calling it all sorts of very impressive names, but when you look at the lives and states of people in Salone, it not reflects of the budget. We always can be approved by Parliament.
So also you feel say we did because the budget actually they try for paint in 2023. Some other people they call it a political tool.
Well, it's almost a political budget because half of the content of allocation goes to the electoral process, for which I foresee for commend the government. Mind you, this is a government that is treading on the rough path, wherein some of international traditional partners they may pull out at one point in this whole process of let's say census. So herein we are seeing the government. I mean, from what I see, just one for people that say we are competent enough. Although we're not getting money, but this is our projection, and we hope that the money will come out. Yes, it's largely making allocation to security, EMBs, more money they don't get, but then more money then they also see that some of them begin get like ECSL. But ask yourself, are their books also clean? So for me, it's not new. It can be political. Of course, it's an electoral calendar or electoral circle budget. So you expect everybody want to score political points. But the bottom line remains, is the budget or the previous appropriated but reflective of the lives and condition and standards of Sierra Leoneans? And the question should be no. And somebody somewhere is sitting on something and nobody is questioning it.
Wow. So they're not able to question the budget because of the divide.
Of course, they're not able to do it. Not only because of the divide, they're not getting experts them too much. Now Parliament, they get for the first time a parliamentary budget office. Budget is a technical area. It's a political tool, but it's not a political document. The budget should reflect on the lives of the people. But in that process of reflecting the lives of people, we see politicians that they use that for spinner. So once they use a political lens for look at the budget, which is an economic document, then that's where we always get it wrong. It's politicized, and we need experts, researchers, people that way for assist parliamentarians them as to how for debates the budget. But from me only to learning on how a budget should be debated, are the figures feasible? What are the sources? What was done with what was previously allocated? Do we need to give them more or do we need to give them less? And the bottom line will remain, these ministries, departments, and agencies, are they delivering the services for which these monies have been allocated for?
So this budget, when they read every year, now they influence the development of the country. Now they influence the statement of the president in the state opening of parliament. You know, for tell me what he don't do, who say he don't, what he plan for do, and all of this. Now the budget, because now only the budget can able for give way for say, okay, I able for spend this amount, I don't spend this amount, I don't spend this amount. So if you watch the budget and you watch the state opening of parliament, 2018, 19, 20, 21, you know, the budget by now we for the say people in life for they get better. But every day, the life of people they get bad, worse every day. But at the same time, they will cry say no, now because of the way how the last government left things there. But every day that the project of our life of people for be better.
Of course, and that's like the most ironical aspect of the budget, because if it's supposed to change the lives of people and people and lives are not change, and you ask yourself, the parliament need for the approve more budgets for the ministries, departments, and agencies than they. Mind you, a huge chunk of the budget in our two international partners donor funding in the camp here, budgetary assistance. So if we assess it, that comes to the feasibility of the budget. If we say the whole project, we will not say we will not get the money in the first place, because the budget is largely tied to revenue mobilization and revenue income and expenditure. If you go project and expenditure, let me say as Papa House, you go make big expenditure, then your salary match up to that expenditure day. Then you ask yourself, is it not a political gimmicking? But again, there is an important document for the tied to a budget, where the civil society and media would all over the years done the ignore, which is the manifesto promises. The manifesto is like the template. The budget is like the fuel, or like manifesto na the motoka, the budget na the fuel for riding motoka. So you ask yourself, some of the promises then are the government's the manifesto. Then we get the money for some provider. A case study is that of the free quality education. We are seeing the government is saying 22% of the budget, 22% of the budget of the small amounts. It's having the largest chunk or share of the budget. It's going into free quality education. But you ask yourself, if free, but you get quality, if free. So you see, that's a perfect case example that government is justifying that, oh, with the 22% now we have more people in school, with the 20% we have more people going to colleges. So that's how we for long cascade the issue around the budget. How much go they, how much will they get?
So we go back to this issue of the free education where then they give 22% of the budget. You know, not a lot of money, but in some cases, if you look, for example, the opposition leader in the parliament, when they talk about waiting the president give, the figure way give, and waiting the Ministry of Finance give, say that they pay. So match no day, you know, president will give this figure, say that they pay for, Ministry of Finance will give this figure. Like the other time they talk about 800,000 difference. Where they in terms of waiting Ministry of Finance say that they pay. So who that they watch them? Who that they monitor them for knowing that this amount really they spend and that this amount dollars?
Well, by right, it will be the technocrats and the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank and other people that we're not supposed to be politicians. But once we don't see, office will be held by experts are now being held by politicians. So if that's the case, where you go draw the line, you go at. Because that man not going to go change for an party office, or that woman not going to go change for an party office. So I think the public service itself has been too politicized. And in moving forward, we need independence in some of these institutions. Because where we need independence, and also no need for the president to talk one thing, the Ministry of Finance to talk another thing. Who coordinates between them? Who verifies some of those reports? It was our expectation that the Chief Minister's office was created to be like a prefect or a principal to all of those in ensure that there's a linkage. If you remember, Aliu, the last administration began the office, there was an office responsible for coordinating ministries, departments, and agencies and state house. But when this administration came, it was changed to something otherwise. And we have a ministry, which is the Chief Minister's office. So I think if there is somebody to blame in some of these discrepancies and mismatches in figures, particularly with the finance, I think the Chief Minister's office is not doing his work properly.
So how it go do that? When at the first person, maybe don't do at the finance and jump over cam, how it go do that effectively?
So nobody not go for calling self to account, but somebody do them. But we are in their independent institutions. Self don't use mechanisms of internal audits way for day, but talk waiting he left. We don't know if he even left handing over notes. So let's talk about some of the other things that we go left. So for me, we have serious issues, and those issues are fundamental issues that we all need for the review. And not only the review, but to report them and stack them up for action. As it stands, they just stack up the reports and some of these issues, but no action has been taken. Unless we begin to take actions that are devoid of political partisanship, that are devoid of regionalism, tribalism, and all of these schisms, I'm afraid we will always be seen which will decide so for we country, or if we will go before, the speed at which we don't go before, it will still be slow.
The manifesto promise where you talk about, when they talk about food, bread and butter, how they for make the lives of people better. When they look at the finance where you talk about, so we get the money for actually make some of the things that they happen, but we find out things really they go behind everything. In as much as the world they suffer from a lot of things, but this government puts like they get everything where it takes for them put things them in place for improve or change the lives of people. But me and say according to different reports, then the grade we say the lives of people they deteriorate 4 times past how they did before. And now we still say the minister and the then Minister of Finance, we now the Chief Minister, we don't make statements say even after 4 finance ministers after a time, they're not able for each to them manifesto promise they say and people then will go without hungry belly.
If UK lost common power as a result of that economic policy. And I leave that bring me to the issue of how we vote in our saloon. Are we voting on policies and issues, or are we voting on just parochialism? Advanced democracies, Ghana now, the government under pressure on the state of the economy. And like you say, systematically and progressively, the reports of the common economy is woeful. So the question begs, as always, what should be done and who is to do it? And in this case, me they look forward as to the next year's election, whether we are going to be voting. Because if some people vote on economic grounds, I'm afraid that if you rich people no more will vote for the incumbent government. If people are going to be voting on poverty still rife, hunger still rife, I'm afraid. But the question, the most fearful parties, would I get the best option? Is the main opposition profiling the alternative? Not at all. In fact, the main opposition and the other political parties in our salon for me reading over years, they all lack ideology. A case study, ask within their position on abortion, within their position on issues we can for do with FGM, within their position on issue we can for do it to SIM for the diaspora. Again, like Rapop say, if now civilized democracy, if you promise something like manifesto, you know good deliver, and then you can't begin to tell people and say, you tell and say your calculation was wrong. It means that you are not competent enough. But what we are left with now, what is the better alternative from what we are already facing? It's scary and very, very scary.
We did see, like you talk about the UK just now, where in 45 days, just 45 days, the Prime Minister resigned. He not give excuse say, no, the person where they meet, now he not put things in place. So he resign say, he meets bad things, but he not able to improve them, so he resign. But in the case of we own government then the tell the place say, they meet this thing, the last government we don't allocate this thing, but then they know say the last government, that in the campaign we say the last government be really don't bad off the economy. Now based on that, then they come and say we can't improve them. But you find out say when they come, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Every day when you ask them, they tell you say the last government carried the country into austerity. Yeah, they carried the country into austerity. That's why people vote them out. So what you don't do from that austerity to now? It's like you don't care they go into more than austerity because now that's what you see right now. And if I can listen to Edmund Abud or so, the other day they tell me say this now the worst austerity we don't ever face. You know, from where the war done at the country.
Yeah, that is still to the bottom line issue of how do we punish politicians who don't keep to their manifestos. And I think that we the media and credible civil society, now we all learning for educating people that nobody not go force somebody for put something in a manifesto. If you go put something that we not will do and make promises for bring heaven on earth, we not deliver, then you have the final say, which is the social contract. It's either you don't vote for the person or you vote for the person. And I think that direction they will for the take now as the people of Sierra Leone. So people let's say this
very important thing from President Bill. Inside one town hall meeting where he talks say African leaders are notoriously known for not delivering on their promises. He said not just African leaders, say politicians generally. So that speaks to you of what exactly they happen right now.
That's an insult to the intelligence of the electorate. And politicians with such kind of notion, we should be punishing them at the ballot box. It's like taking the intelligence of the public or electorate for granted. That we do not do. The people don't understand once we explain. I don't think that's the essence of democracy. Democracy, if you promise change and you not deliver change, you should be changed.
So this one very important for everybody for listening. You know, because the reason why I basically come with this kind of discussion, now because of for the last 4 years, now this one thing we don't hear, not true. The last government, they even put the country into austerity. Now reality, this government where they made the opposition, they be know that one. So what they tell me? They say this government, that the last government will be the not good for the country. They're not even study for run the country. They eat all things, they wreck the country. They not left nothing. But anyway, we are not worry. We are just giving this power no more. When we can, we go make things better. So we just make that scenario there. Also, you get sober democracy, where the people them actually they look and they vote based on policy, based on manifesto promise, not by party, not by family business, not by region or tribe. The British in system, for example, in 45 days, when you man not say, for example, we see inside the last one we did, they say you not do well. In some policies and they way, you not even favor the average people. This can they put out for let change the thing. It means this not bad off, but you not able for change them. What did he do? He say, this thing big for me, I'm not able. He taking leave. This other one he don't come. But if now we your country now, 45 days, inside we country politician all in power, he say left put that on them. 45 days he resigned. But we, 4 years, listen to this thing, 45 days he resigned because he's not able. 4 years, we still cry for the last government. 4 years. 4 years, we still cry. So you see how serious we government be or how unserious we government be. This is just show you say, they're not capable, they're not able to know how to do things then. Because even when this government, the last government, we all see, yeah, that is why the people of this country jump in the streets. Then dance, Tolo Bonogu Sidoya, angry Boku. Indeed, because the people concerned about waiting the Gona and Bele, now this government all up, say yes, not true. In 60 days, in almost days, we go able to make this thing better. Now they don't begin to tell you, every day they give you an excuse. Not to wait till you see where the outside, where you can inside, you get for trickle. Now they get over there. You get for trickle the manifesto promises them for let it meet to the things that way they meet. And then will come and say, well, not to wait till I've been saying. And even 4 finance minister after me will not be able for me to bread and butter issue. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? That UK Prime Minister not even pronounce that kind of thing there. He just simply take him bag and then he left the office. He said, "You beg, una all una power, me I'm able this thing." But we every day we cry, every day the opposition, every day the last government. So sad. And interestingly, this government are the kind of money where they don't pack. They don't get much money, but till now with the inside hole. There we go.
That's what advanced democracies are doing. And for we now, unfortunately, people are for make it say it normal for the politicians say they do something in manifesto in Odua. Be it said by President Bio or be it said by Joe Biden or Emmanuel Macron, that is not the issue. The issue is what happens next. What should the electorate do to them? And if you look at the US election, we are seeing cases coming out in the way how people vote in different states with regards to policies and issues and with regards to the two political parties. I mean, we need for some people for go to democracy where if a politician lie, if I not say there are consequences for that. If not, I think democracy is not relevant anymore.
So now look at this assessment. You know, the manifesto. So waiting to happen in reality. What you would say, because if I listen properly to President Bill, say they don't do everything inside the manifesto.
Well, I know say no more if you didn't at school or you didn't at college, when you sit exam, say you mark your paper. But I know say for let them mark your paper, they get questionnaire. So the manifesto, not the questionnaire. And we need for evaluator. A case study, President Bill say inside the manifesto, they say they will be stadium there. And you watch that salon, that stadium they renovate no more. And you are with Baba the bill.
So this one interesting. He say the bill for when they say stadium, he say the bill for which stadium. Then he watch it turn here. He say yeah, Chinese, na can renovate for we. Na just can renovate for we. We begin the parking with stadium. Oh my God. We the parking alley. Pathway Babadi decide for build one mini stadium na Bo for Bo Rangers. So Salon Stadium, in as much as other people get their own, because for example, one time they will get this timber business, this gateway or so something. Yeah, when they talk about this timber business, where they say Babadi, they in charge, and all of them will they don't put together. So, but that's not important. The most important thing now, they do have in a private capacity right now. That's very, very important. Very, very important. But this government, not for bill one. We see, for example, FIFA gets some mini stadium in the bill. You want to Kenima, FIFA. You want to McKinney where the last government will do that, FIFA. You want to Bo, FIFA. So they ask yourself a question now. Who's one for them? We don't build stadium for we. In fact, they always say they can build stadium now, innovating, choose or innovate. Get the logo.
So that's an issue. Why are we picking up these issues? We need an independent, a critical assessment on the manifesto again. But almost civil society and journalists will get that time for being thematic. Say, let me look at the manifesto issue by issue. Let's assess energy, which we should be doing ahead of the election. Because it never be qualified on a part, so can mark President Bio now 5/10 or 10/10 or 1 or 0/10. When me self not do my own due diligence in making sure that what was said and checking out what has been done, what has changed or not changed. So we have a duty of care as journalists and as civil society. But we want for mark the government paper for let we self get a questionnaire right. But of course, President Bio and Chief Minister not to let them mark their own paper. You cannot be a judge in your own cause.
So what do you try for say so? Compared to waiting President Bio say we say Africa leaders they not always not for deliver on the promise. Is then at the same line?
Of course, it's like what you talk
naive. Sorry. I know. Sorry. Anyway. Okay. So Melvin, I appreciate you so much, but how you feel say where they go? Because the people them not to be vote by policy. The amount. Okay. Now people. I think this is very important again. I think now them thing they have to we need for the waiting. We could spend a lot of time, because the truth now. The one the way they determine who that for rule we. Now the way we will say the average salon people. The one way we will say that these the petty traders them. The average salon people that they determine who that they will we. In other words, the one way you feel say, no, this will not look there with 2 eye. Now they determine because now they boku. The elite they not boku. The one they will get couple, they not boku. The one the way they suffer, now them boku, and interestingly, now they determine who that they will be. Once you don't able to get hold of them, it's over. It's over. There are two things. If you see, watch out. I begin watch this thing from 2007, Honest by Kuruma. If you see Chris Man begin games with the government of the day, problem don't they? For that government thing. If you see Chris Man, they talk against the government of the day, or they worship the one way they contest for become the next leader for a political party, you get to watch that particular individually very well. I don't watch them plenty thing. We don't remember Eastern Police, for example. Solomon Bayo get money. He get. Then they spend the money. If you get one case man where all trading at Eastern Police, where see money in car, you don't go for go whip Honest by Kuruma. You don't become caretaker too. Hey, see money come. We see how it happen. We sweep, come on, they will come back to Marabio. We see Chris Man them back, begin for the bulldoze for Marabio. We suicide with this right now. Well, no watch now. We don't begin here, Chris Man, they don't begin talk again against Marabio. I don't know what's in the happen next. I just want for being waiting, maybe don't see as experience no more. He left to waiting the people of the country. One for the next. I just put us so. Let me continue for listening. People in the vote say, think triangle, for example. They're not care waiting at the other things them. As long as think triangle, then they just don't gain. And now one of the things is when they vote the last government out. When they think Tolobono will see angry boku. Now just not the only thing, and now that's not the important thing where Salon people they vote for. You think, say, in this particular scenario, in as much as the international community, they influence some things that already happen. But we see, like you say, the British, government. Yeah? We see, for example, other side and they where they try to put things them in place. Look, we Leons, compared to the Guinea, they own money. Before this term, we Leons get weight. If you get 10,000 Leons, then they give 15,000 Guinea money. But now, if you want for change, then they give you 20,000 Leons Salon money for 10,000 Leon Guinea money. And a junta government did it. What in this speaks to?
It speaks to the fact that the economic principle and policy they will for review. For example, Guinea, they talk about, you cannot compare Guinea to me because of them free ports. And Salon businesses, they always only complain about excessive taxation. We get a repercussion or implication on cost of ordinary goods and services on we the ordinary citizens. So if we want to put Guinea and Sierra Leone into perspective economically, then it means we need for a review economic approach, particularly with regards to taxation, revenue generation and mobilization, and also accessibility to the land, air, and sea spaces, all of those things. But of course, if you want to put that into perspective, the manufacturing sector in Guinea is buoyant. You cannot compare it to Sierra Leone. Very buoyant. And if you look at also the diaspora contribution to Guinea, you cannot compare it to Sierra Leone. Huge chunk of the Guinean population, they have establishments in France, you know that. Most of them are, you cannot compare to Sierra Leone. Almost Sierra Leone investor there, you will say, get good businesses in the UK. But I would say you get a huge number of Guineans, them in France and elsewhere in Europe, where they are investors. So the economic climate or outlook cannot be comparable for several factors.
So how you go encourage the young people for come?
The case may be.
All right. So who start with regards to the Auditor General, for example, when are the baby of Parliament, they not ever they come up with this particular issue, especially now that this committee when they set up. From where they set them up, the public not get better understanding of what they happen. The Parliament or ever they raise that kind of concern on what they happen with regards to the Auditor General.
Yes, it only come up that Parliament where they come as a political or partisan issue. Even as at yesterday, opposition. Now we're in opposition, but once the table is turned, they will have a different side of that argument.
And they talk about the suspension of the Auditor General and the deputy.
That's what I'm saying. It has come up several times. First, from a gender lens that the government it talks say then they empower women, then they pull women there, then all they put women and they back. But also from an accountability and transparency lens, wherein many people only view that because of the Auditor General and the deputy, they were very, very independent, neutral, and fearless in the content where they put inside that report, so they've been gagged. So yes, what in Parliament can do, the matter is now before court. It's limited. Parliament cannot do anything before that. But the tribunal itself should be questioned. We can with the judiciary under the spotlights and the Chief Justice. I think say that tribunal they need to get some fire behind them. And how? Then the complaints they don't get money for even set up secretariat. It's among other things. Who is responsible for that? The executive. So you ask yourself, is it deliberate or not? Or not the money not there? If the money not there, why did people boss it? If you not count the cost, why take the action? So for me, the issue of the Auditor General, they are above Parliament now and wait for see what the tribunal will say and waiting that report they therefore be used for in subsequent parliaments and court precedents.
And as far as I'm concerned, when they put them on suspension, so they're not found guilty yet. It means say they're on salary. We mean say they pay for nothing for now.
Well, we don't know the nature of a suspension, but if they're supposed to pay them, whether they pay them again, I know that because as alone, we don't have a request of people and gratitude and pensions, we are not paid. Only for let the UN cry over that. And I mean, for understand, say there are still people in the last administration who are not even paid their gratitude and pension. So whether they pay the Auditor General, where they under suspension, so if they pay, of course, it's a disservice to the public purse, which they pay them for. But that is not the question. The question is, why you suspend them when...
According to labor law, as long as you suspend that, you not find anything against that, yet you're supposed to pay.
That is in a normal circumstance. This is a case with political undercurrents. And in Sierra Leone, politics is bigger than even sometimes the laws. That's not for normal case. But the politician then go argue all that thing. Mind you, the allegation against her might lead up to her not getting what he forgets at the end of the day. So if that at the penultimate end game, I will not be surprised if waiting for the guy right now, they're not the game. But if they're the game, well, that's beyond that cement because you know they work for her. But the one we pull them, the one they put in our office, I think say they will ask all the question and because the woman will do work, the woman and the man will do their work fine one until they say they get case against them, where yet still they're not able to establish. So it's unfortunate for the independence of institution, a very unfortunate for people who are for uphold standards, very unfortunate for accountability and transparency in a salon.
Lastly, with the plenty documents we get for the Council of Parliament, we get for see bad laws than the past, or we get for the see more feds than happen in Parliament?
Well, I don't expect to go see feds, but that will be based on how the speaker will handle the reports of the clerk with regards to the MPs on that question and the veracity of that report itself. And
so tell me about the MP there. What are they on detention? What are they on ID right now? And based on the letter we come or the statement we come from the clerk?
I'm sure they're afraid because then they're going to feel say the speaker don't lift the immunity, and we don't know whether they don't lift the immunity. We talk about Honorable Aymara, Honorable Aaron Aruna Kuruma, Honorable Abdul Karim Kuruma, and the Honorable Oyi, when are the newest MP where they still in detention, and the driver of Honorable Kelly. All of them are coming from the opposition. That in itself is questionable because the opposition never fought themselves. They fought against persons. And who are those persons? I don't think the Office of the Clerk's report adequately captured that. So, really wait for the independence. Waiting will be the decision of the Speaker, whether I go refer the matter to the Privileges Committee, where I think that that's if I do, as per the provisions of the Constitution, and the Privileges Committee now get the duty for recommend whether they for pay them money them for the damage, whether some man, whether or not they forget any other sanctions. But as of now, the Speaker should be in a quagmire and pondering over what path to take.
So, but you don't think so the other one, the way they on hiding, get easy for that because they already don't arrest somebody with they on detention. When me say the Speaker don't lift the immunity.
The arrest of MP is not new. We sympathize with them while they hide. Honorable Aymara, they don't arrest in the last term. Honorable Abdul Kagbo don't be arrested. There's a pattern of arresting of opposition lawmakers. So if they were run away or they hide, they might have a justifiable reason. It's not a man who tight place. But I'm sure the tight place, there's enough for them politicians then. But so a man and they run away, perhaps they look and say, better tell not day again, and wait a man for good done for. It's unfortunate for people with thousands of people elected in this state of affairs, but who is to blame? I blame themselves, I blame the one them within our government. So the opposition and the government is to be blamed, coupled with bad laws and gaps in the laws.
Thank you very much for you taking time for joining inside the program this morning. In name na Melvin Tijant Mansare, in a resident parliamentary reporter na parliament. And I think say the Casada leaf we give you this morning, we don't crepe the crown, we even the lick we don't take we finger the lick the thing within the crown and the pamai. We don't enjoy a good one. I think you don't play justice to all of the issues that we don't regret at all for getting inside the program Koreas this morning. In name Melvin Tijant Mansare, we've been enjoying inside Koreas this morning. Well, of course, this not been the situation where we felt ourselves with regards all of the issues them. Well, what we can do now, I want to know now your own opinion into all of the issues there. So, where we actually don't they go on with? Waiting you think about them things there, so this particular issue. So like always, sorry, like always, big one for Yeri from you. What you think? Let you just tell me what you think about this particular issue where we don't discuss, especially the last part where you talk about the member of parliament them where they right now they run away, where they hide right now. What do you think about them? Yeah, call me allow talk 2 minutes each. If you want for talk, I just want to make a short one. The reason why I come with this particular program because better talk no day. We just want for listen back and just like a recap sort of. Yeah, but I'm very sorry. The way I feel, I'm not even sure if we come back tomorrow. I'm not even sure. But we just hope and pray that we come back tomorrow. But now we're standing, line open, for you call and add the voice inside the program. What do you think about the way how these particular journalists are able to analyze the whole thing? What do you think about the whole thing where actually it don't come up?
Huh? Alele Wodi! Which shall baby the mommy na Skype yo? Type Nation! You know for talk for you right? We gains. No respect for the youth. We gains. We don't see all kinds suffer. Man they die copper, no coffer. All man gains. You know for talk for you right? We gains. No respect for the youth. We gains. The country na scam who been think say you go better.
Hello caller. Your name inside the call from please.
Yes.
Yes, please. So go ahead. What do you think about the analysis of this journalist?
Well, I don't say anywhere
I know, eh?
but the drink hot water, cold tea, like hot tea, so you know easy.
I know.
You know that while they are concerning that tribunal.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, they put a maximum journalist most I think it was I mean I can give you a clue about the things here. If we progress they make, how serious, serious about them till especially look what you tell about Lara Tolopias and the deputy and tribunal. It's just the dealing that they play, they play with people and it's really serious because at the end of the day that they're gonna find themselves inside the whole thing. This is crazy, man. It really does. Thank God, and we'll go. Try all means possible. Madam, you really talk up and then you do up. See, our leader, they know they're not deliver the promise all around it, and I do so. You know what I mean? And then there was a bullet.
Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, you lined on bad off. I don't know why.
Oh, you get me now?
Yes, please.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I was just say, well, if we get anybody that could respond the show, but they are low, they ask them what concerning the tribunal, I always say what they go on. How far now?
Okay. All right. So now that basically you talk about time and say, they even say money, no, they bother. But anyway, thank you very much, my brother.
Yeah, now to appearance to talk about. You say.
Yes, Lara, and I get it tribunal really go on, no?
Yes. I asked back for the August 10, the investigation.
Okay, that investigation. Okay, no problem. I'll try for do that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Start me.
Yeah. Osho.
Yes, sir.
I got you medicine, yeah?
Amen.
I don't even say you will come online, or honestly, I've been unable to study Congo Sadi.
I just can't Kugusa. At least you don't say, let them know say we did, but that circumstance. Because until no come back tomorrow.
Yes. But at least if you not feel okay tomorrow, please have to take a break. They go understand. The family don't go understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Hi Facebook, hi YouTube. I hope so all man they do well. I just want to commend the brother and I name Melvin Otosto.
Yes, please.
They do very, very well, Sembepe. That guy is smart, man. He answered it just so straightforward, and it makes so much sense. You know, the more they talk, it's like where somebody they open a book, where they read, they don't read a book before, and then they go back and reread that tells you how good the guy is. You know, he's very, very good. We just wish that we'll get the opportunity for getting at this platform here. So once in a while, at least make it kind of educate me, open your eyes them, especially when you reach at the parliament side. I was like, wow, it's inside salon. The parliament or the politicians or politics is bigger than the law in Sierra Leone. You know, it's just I opened my eyes this I said, wow. I said this guy just nailed it. He just nailed it, you know. But we're really, really happy that you get smart people there, just like the way how you got a smart for bringing that kind of program there. So we said we can educate. It just make me I want to change my career, I want to and go into politics.
No,
maybe I might.
We get for Billy 5 5 no worry. We don't see.
Maybe in the near future, but seriously, I'm thinking about it. I'm really, really thinking about it for just switch up and then see what I can do, you know. But the guy just make me, I just want to do something differently where I go, you know, impact me people their life in Sierra Leone. Anywhere except where I go there, because you know, say salary go there.
Okay, let's tell you something. We go make you know going for impact the lives of people. Then not alone. In this politics where we get to right now, then get one particular clause where they make you know ever go against. Sorry. Where go make you know ever go against what your political party stand for. For example, if you stand say this thing wrong, your political party say right, you not get mind for come out and say that if you challenge the party 110, then go do it, then go invoke waiting they call 77K per you, and that's the end of your career.
You're right. Because I thought about it. I said, what about if I go against me own party? Because you know the good ones, they're very, very few inside their political party.
So for example, Honorable Tawa, you know the thing where they do for them, they not invoke 77K, but rather they pull them from outside the Sidon and can go right here and then suspend them for long time in all the talk. You know,
that's
so
sad.
Imagine now, in the worst case scenario, what they go do, if not the worst thing you do for invoke 77K, and 77K that for impeach you. Done, simple.
That's it, you're done, you're out, never coming back. You know, I thought about it though before you reached at this point here. So I said, what about if me try to go against me own party, because it's the truth. I know that there is a consequence towards that, and everybody go gang up against you. Just because they know say you are ready to bring the light come to the people and make them see exactly what you talk about, what you stand for.
So the best thing I can advise anybody, if you actually want to make life-changing things that people in life, not to politics not the best side, because politics is like you just I'll be watch one video from I'll be forced. I think I'll be tempted for actually count this video now that I don't talk about them. I've been watching this video about this Gambian parliament. Gambian parliament. I go first for Brian Kamle people to listen to a quick one. It really show you the difference between we own parliament and other parliaments them in the world. You understand? We parliament totally different from the South African parliament. We parliament from what me see from this video totally different from we own parliament and Gambian parliament, for example. So you find out say we don't get the free hand anytime you attend for do this. You don't create for talk to the speaker one kind way inside the country, because then the take plain one say the speaker and get the all thing for say.
And all that well up to the constitution. It has to be changed. They give these people
bad constitution
so much power. So much power.
Very bad constitution. So anytime people want to talk about constitution, now we know the way Ernest Michael will escape me more. But anyway, just hold on quick. Hold on quick. Let me listen to this thing quick one. Let me all listen to this, and then go understand exactly what thing they try for say. Just listen to this parliament, the Gambian human parliamentarian.
The Honourable Member for Banjul South.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I would first of all like to thank the committee clerks of this August House for the great work that they have done by spending the whole night in this August Assembly preparing a report for us. I thank you, clerks of the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, I think looking at the Honorable Minister's statement, and looking at the budget, I think that our government does not love this country. They do not have the feeling to nurture our children in this country. Honorable Speaker, $6 billion in salaries alone, not in administrative cost. Honorable Speaker, and we say we are a poor country. Honorable Speaker, the median age in this country is 19 years old. We should consider the life and the livelihood of our children. We should be investing in education. We should be investing in health rather than paying ourselves, feeding ourselves out of the poor people of this country. I will start with this August Assembly, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, to see the salary of the Honorable Speaker increased from 658 million to 658,000 to 1,560,000, I feel ashamed to call myself an honorable member, Honorable Speaker. I gave myself for service. I did not give myself for the poor people to feed me and my family, Honorable Speaker. When I saw this, I felt embarrassed. I did not want to come to this budget session because I said to myself, there is no need, because we are just sharing the cake in our pockets, going home, feeding ourselves. Not only that, but to see the responsibility allowance, the residential allowance, the roving allowance, and all those for the representatives of the people. It is embarrassing for me to go back to my poor constituency and tell them that the meager resources of this country, I am paid that much at your expense. I took an oath, Honorable Speaker, to serve and to give back to my society, not to enrich myself. And even if I go to the Constitution, Honorable Speaker, it says that we shouldn't deliberately enrich ourselves. And increasing our salaries is deliberately.
So this is not the situation, where we find ourselves. We know we'll get somebody. As we talk about this salary, so for Gambian, the speaker and the member of parliament, nothing this way we say self-defense for right now inside we yard with the member of parliament, the speaker. Wardrobe allowance, travel, medical, all of them things they are so all at the expense of the people then. But yet still, then say we there in the interest of the people, whereas the people they suffer, but then they take the same take, the shebam to themselves, then they say they stand for the people.
So
you
reach
now
our
you see what they can say, you're not going for do things like this.
Yeah. So what thing for be that woman they in your stand now right now? You think young people they will come back and turn against them because they don't come out and call out.
So for this one, this not a young parliament, like Gambian parliament.
No, I know, yes, Gambia.
No.
Yes.
They get the free will for that. We don't get that one there at all.
For that. But we don't get them. So you see, you just give me an example of what I want to go into for tell we say, inside salon, they will give you opportunity for do that. But in other countries, you get the free will for make you speak. Now may they represent you, they put you inside there so you go talk for your people. But if they happen at salon, then it's a big slap on our face. It's shameful. It's really shameful.
Sorry about that, but just word of caution. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you for the caution.
Yeah.
For educating me. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right, so the line's still open. We actually get a lot of things. We look forward for get you. Sorry, people in the call, but I get specifically for all the line for we listen to this particular thing because I think that it make a lot of sense. For we listen and see how it's like on the other side. Interestingly, we know the copy good to know. And it's when a bad thing now the copy. For example, Ghana, from the president to the ministers, they all do cuts. They all cut for the salary. Inside the country, but all the Allah, Tintango, we know the cops. They're not crazy. One day they not get a mind. Who said that? I beg. Now I beg logo before you. I need to win a bad thing, now they copy, but good to win copy. Welcome. Anything a bad thing, we let for compare. We get fine airport pass in Guinea. Get fine airport pass like bad things. They no more how we compare. But from when Guinea the economy the boom pass we don't ever compare say Guinea economy don't the boom. Let we see how best we can able for make the economy boom. Never. But if like bad thing they happen at Guinea, for example, when bad thing they happen at Liberia with regards to yes business, you see we sorry, we member of parliament them, sorry, we ministers them, we government workers them all over the dance with this thing. Hey, we better Liberia they no get rest. Who get rest? We know the to like now bad things no more now we compare with. Anything a good thing we not sabi, we know they put we there. Let them begin compare, they can't think there. Compare the Ghana example. Ghana example are like 1 or 2 years any council now for when they do cuts. You know, and pay cut for ministers, MDs. But we never. It's not possible. In fact, this woman they talk to in Gambia. Now we are MP that they run after so. We speaker, now they run after so. The line still open, and they take a few more calls. Let me see how best we can able for talk about them things that we actually go on in the country. The line still open. Let me see how much call we can take. 5 more calls and then we go. It's sad, eh? It's very, very sad. Very, very, very sad for the country. Very sad. The program that we had, and please not forget to challenge still the on for each 100,000 by December. We don't get 61,727. We still get plenty way for go. So please, if you not subscribe yet, please consider for subscribe. And you will not like and share it. Please do so for me now. Thank you very much. I'll take. I get 10 more minutes now, yeah? For let I go, I guess. Sometime we know they come tomorrow. And the rest of the open pray say the body look okay. But if not, I'm not too sure. If you come, you will see the notification. That is why I find for let you go able for subscribe and follow we page on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. So we go able for you go able for get notification whenever we come up with different programs then we yard.
Huh? Alele Wodi! Which shall baby the mommy na Skype yo? Type Nation! You know for talk for you right? We gains. No respect for the youth, we gains. We don't see all kinds suffer. Man they die copper, no coffer. All man gains. You know for talk for you right? We gains. No respect for the youth, we gains. The country na scam, we been think say you go better where you can, but we don't tire with this gamma. We gains. When you talk for you right, then joke by you talk. Who's them beggars it's on Babin shop? This new direction try to lead us in the wrong way. So hard time, so I guess we for stop. Yeah, let's come to reality. Man, they're not back safe, no security. We need for stop, now police brutality. For make we see the lights, we get for stand for we rights.
Alright, I get 5 more minutes for go. I know say it don't really tell you know the camp, so it's very challenging. We got 5 more minutes for go. For take few more calls before we actually go. If not, we they drop the curtain of the program down, and then we join you again in another edition of the program we had. Okay. Let me see. Let me just take this message. Quick one. All right. Okay. I think we need for CVT.
This is going to be the first time police officers will be deployed in the well to ensure that the city goes on. So make sure you turn on this area and make sure people do not disrupt the city. If anybody disrupts the city, by the standing orders of parliament, that person should be outside the well. Okay? So you can get your men to turn on this area so that city can come. Please do it quickly. Indeed. See the
Alright, so una actually get for be patient with we for them days that the lost power. And so now we actually need for be very, very strong before ever we come back to una. So I want for big in advance. Maybe we come tomorrow, maybe not, I don't know. I'm not sure. but we will try our best for see what we can do. But until we meet again inside another beautiful edition of your program, we are. I want to say God bless the country Sierra Leone, where we are. My name is Sembe Pierre, the freedom fighter. Today we meet back. God bless the country. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night.
Just wanna drink and party all day.
This December, all routes lead to Freetown for the first ever Afro-Caribbean Festival. On the 28th of December, our international guests will arrive at Lunga International Airport. Please look for the bright colored line. On December 29, we will take you on a tour around the city to touristic sites. Later, from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m., join us in our Ankara pool parties. On the 30th of December, from 12 p.m. till 5 p.m. Get that sparkling ocean clean white for our beach all-white party at Decode Bar. Join us in our pajama jam starting at 7 p.m. till midnight. 31st of December will be time for some sand and sunbathing in our Juve on the beach at Kalon Kapak from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. Experience New Year's Eve in Freetown like never before in our New Year's Eve concert at Radisson Blu from 10 p.m. till dawn. On New Year's Day, Carnival will meet Lantern Parade from Radisson Blu all the way to Freetown Golf Club and back to Radisson Blu with a portrait of the legendary musician Ebenezer Kalenda, and that's from 12 p.m. till 6 p.m. because at 7 p.m. on New Year's Day, all roads will lead to Radisson Blu for the Africa Ball, for mixing the Sierra Leone culture with Caribbean culture to get a powerful cocktail of all-night entertainment. January 2nd, 2023 will be time for our guests to leave. So, grab your tickets now for the Afro-Caribbean Festival in Freetown from Eminence Africa Office 114 Pademba Road, Freetown, or call customer care on 030-200-555.